because what NFL teams are doing right now is fucked up. Like, let's call it what it is. It's fucked up.
100%.
And they're not giving black head coach candidates enough of a chance.
Welcome back to Tipsy Tailgate Media. I'm Aiden.
I am Ben.
And it's episode 27.
I'm not Sal, no.
All right, sorry. Go ahead, buddy.
I'm Sal.
Okay, that's
no one cares.
It's just like, it's a two-man show. I'm fucking over it.
So we're back with another one for you guys. If you're not following us already, follow us at Tipsy Tailgate Media on everything. Literally everywhere you find content. Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, Twitter, not Snapchat, that's coming, but Spotify, Apple Podcasts as well if you want to watch the audio-only podcasts. Just support it. We've got merch. Merch is 20% off right now, so go get some while you can. $20 shirts, white and black. This is one of them. Back a little lat spread. So that's the merch, and
relax.
Without further ado, let's get into the good stuff. We're going to touch on the NFL head coach and OC hires that we liked, and all of them kind of in general, some of the bigger ones, and see kind of what we think about each one and where they put the franchise moving forward. So starting off, let's go to Sean Payton to the Broncos. Now, obviously, as a Saints from the Saints traded, he's now the Broncos head coach. I think we talked about this, but briefly, give me what you're expecting from him.
Yeah, I'm expecting him to do very well on the offensive side of the ball. I'm not sure if their record will necessarily indicate that they're a great team right away. I bet they go 8-9 next year, but he's definitely going to bring some stability, and if there's anyone that's going to fix Russ right now, it's Sean Payton. I think that Sean Payton can probably get Russ to play in a similar way that he had Drew Brees playing towards the end of his career, which was at a very high level, obviously. They have very similar skill sets at this point, except that Russ has a better deep ball. So I think that it's going to look very similar to the offense that he was running with Drew Brees in New Orleans.
So I have to agree. I think that it's definitely going to help. It is a really tough division to make a dent in, but I do like the roster. I was very high on the Broncos
roster's very good.
The defense was one of the best defenses in the league by points.
My only question about the Broncos for next season is, can Sean Payton fix Russ to the point that his teammates are buying into him again?
Yeah,
because probably
lost the locker room a little bit.
That's the worst thing that happened. It wasn't even necessarily, given how bad Russ played, he was horrible. Probably the worst quarterback in the league last year. But the worst thing that happened to him was that he lost the room, as you just said. So if Sean Payton can rejuvenize that group and get them to buy into Russ again, they'll be golden.
Give me a rating on the higher.
A+. It's Sean Payton. I got to give it an A+.
I'm gonna give it an A- just because they did give up some solid draft capital. Yeah. But to their credit, they had to do it because they're already all in. Another one, let's talk about DeMeco Ryans, 49ers defensive coordinator. He's now the Texans head coach. Where do you stand on that?
It's very similar to the way that I felt about Lovie Smith being there for 3 years. He's a very good coach, but the team sucks, so he's not going to find success. Like, there's no way that you can find success there. I think DeMeco Ryans is a very good football coach. Obviously, very successful in San Fran, but the Texans are so bad that it's not going to work out. So hopefully this is just a launching point for him to further his career and find a better head coaching job down the line. I'm rooting for him, but I just don't see it working out. In terms of talent of the coach, I'd give it like a B+, but since it's just not going to work because they suck, I'll give it a C-.
Yeah, so I think that for teams like the Texans, the biggest thing that that they need to do is to really nail on the general manager position. Because if you look at a team like the Eagles, like they were all built besides A.J. Brown in the draft, through the draft. So that's where you have to build your team, at least initially.
That's how the Cowboys are built. It's how the Packers have been built the last 10 years.
Packers always so when it comes down to, I think DeMeco Ryans is a good head coach, and I think he could make some changes on this team that improves them. But with that said, like if Nick Caserio, former Pat, is not hitting on his draft capital, any trades, whatever he does,
then it's all for naught. It's
not getting value for Brandon Cooks. Like there's things that you could do, and he hasn't really done much before. Recently,
obviously need a quarterback as well.
Yeah, quarterback is like the biggest thing. I think if they get Caleb Williams, I think that in a couple years this team could be competitive. But they're a long way out. I'm gonna give the higher. I'm gonna give it a B+ just because I do like DeMeco Ryans.
Yeah, I like him a lot.
Now Frank Reich, he's obviously fired as the Colts head coach.
Yeah.
He's the Panthers head coach now, and they've also brought in a stacked coaching room everywhere from OCDC. People around him. What do you think about that hire, and what do you think about the Panthers in general?
I've always loved Frank Reich. I think last year in Indianapolis he had a horrible year. For whatever reason, it all seemed out of sync from the get-go. So, I mean, I'm rooting for Frank Reich. I believe that Eagles Super Bowl had more to do with him than it did Doug Peterson. I've always held that belief. The guy had Carson Wentz playing like an MVP, and now he just sucks. So, I think Frank Reich's really good, especially as an offensive mind. Maybe they could compete for that division because it's so bad. But I'll give this a B- for a grade. I just don't.
Yeah. I
don't believe in the Panthers. I never will.
So here are some of the notable names, and I might be missing a few, on the Panther staff this year. Senior defensive assistant Dom Capers, who was the first head coach in Panthers franchise history. Defensive backs assistant is D'Angelo Hall. Then you've got guys like, where is he? Sean Jefferson as the wide receivers coach, who coached Calvin Johnson. All the way to Josh McCown at the quarterback coach. Senior assistant Jim Caldwell.
Jim Caldwell's a great coach.
Their OC's Thomas Brown. Like, they have a really good staff that they've put together. And listen, this team, the roster-wise, it's not a bad roster, and I've always been.
The defense is filled with playmakers.
I mean, Brian Burns is unreal. J.C. Horn, like, this is a really solid starting point for a promising coach.
And the division's horrible.
Yeah, it's anyone's.
Call it
they
how
almost
it is.
won the division.
The division
last year.
sucks. So
and they got a shit ton of picks from McCaffrey.
Yeah, I'm gonna give this higher. I'm probably gonna give this one an A.
I'll go B+.
Yeah,
I'll go B+.
All right, Shane Steichen, I believe is his name. Eagles OC. Now
terrible.
Now Colts head coach.
Terrible.
Not a fan.
The Colts have been. It's literally the Peyton Manning curse. You cut the greatest player in your franchise history for no fucking reason. He goes on to win an MVP, go to 2 Super Bowls, winning 1. Idiots. Jim Irsay, you're a moron. And ever since then, you've been shit. You have Andrew Luck. You ruin his career. He retires early. And what have you done since? Nothing. You haven't done a damn thing. And now they're a dumpster fire. This is going to be a horrible coaching hire. Just terrible. I'm gonna give this an F. I think this guy's talentless. I think that it was all Sirianni on the offensive side of the ball, and I think this guy's a jamoke. It's a joke what they're doing in Indy. A joke. This is an F. I think they win 4 games.
Oh boy.
They suck.
Oh boy. Listen, yeah, I don't know how much he had on the impact of this Eagles offense, but
Aiden, he would hand Jalen Hurts a water bottle. That's all he did.
Yeah, I mean, I see where you're coming from, of course. But I definitely think that he had some part of the growth in Jalen Hurts. And for that, I'll give him some credit. I'll probably go C+ on this one. I'm with you that it's not my favorite hire. But
I just don't see.
I don't know. I don't really know if the Colts have a plan.
The team sucks. The owner sucks. The GM sucks. The coach now sucks. They're going to be horrible. They're going to be a terrible football team.
We'll see. Coming around September. But the other Eagles move, who they lost, their DC, Jonathan Gannon, he's now the Cardinals head coach. What do you think about that one?
I mean, he's better than... He's a better hire than Steichen was. But, I mean, do you believe in the Cardinals?
I think the Cardinals might be in one of the worst spots of any team in the league right now.
Kyler Murray's another guy who's a joke.
They might be...
He doesn't watch film. How can you be a quarterback in the NFL and not watch film, and then you get all pissy when you don't win on Sunday and you throw your helmet around? Like, bro, you're playing Call of Duty every fucking night. Like, watch film. Do your job. You're literally getting paid to watch film and play football.
Yeah.
That's a dream job for... like every quarterback in the league. That's what you've wanted to do your whole life, and you refuse to do it. I have no respect for Kyler Murray. I think he blows.
So now what's the deal? What do you think is, like, you don't think this hire is going to improve this team at all?
No.
Because the state of the roster, I guess, at this point?
Yeah. It's kind of similar to the Texans hiring, why am I blanking on his name? DeMeco Ryans. Like, the team's not good. At least... the Cardinals have some semblance of a quarterback.
So it is interesting.
They're trading D-Hop. They are trading D-Hop.
It is interesting to see both teams that are probably two of the worst teams, maybe not exactly, but around there, in the Cardinals and the Texans, both making the now rare defensive coordinator hire for head coach. Now it's so often you see offensive coordinators get hired.
Mm-hmm.
Two of the worst teams, maybe they want to build a defensive system first, and then follow maybe the footsteps of like Sean McDermott to the Bills. Head defensive guy goes in there. So it would be interesting to see. I do like this one a little bit more than the Colts hire. So I'll probably give this one a B-. Still,
you're being too generous today.
I mean, this team made the Super Bowl. Obviously, their OC, their DC can't be terrible. Like,
I'll give it a C. They're gonna suck.
Okay, now into some offensive. These aren't all of them, but some of the notable offensive coordinator hires. Bill O'Brien to the Pats
A+.
from Bama.
It's an A+. And it is 100%. The guy worked with Bama. Your quarterback was at Bama. They worked together right before your quarterback got drafted. He taught Bill O'Brien Bama's offense, which means that they have a good working relationship. And it's also an A+ hire because of what you're replacing at that position. Mm-hmm. You had Joe Judge and Matt Patricia, and now you have a guy who's been calling plays in the NFL for what, like 15 years? I mean, I don't see how it could become much better of a hire than that. And if Mac doesn't work out this year, now you move him. But I don't expect that to happen at all.
One thing that I was worried about, or like one of the worries that I would have had, would be that he's too old for the OC position to the point where it's now like a young man's game where they're so revolutionary. But the fact that he was just an OC for Bama in college, and college is like basically like what happens in college now comes to the NFL. So that kind of takes that worry away from me. So I do really like the hire. I'll give it an A. Next up, Nathaniel Hackett. We did touch on this one already also, but from the Broncos head coaching position, fired after his first year to now the Jets OC as a ploy to try to get Rodgers there. At least at first it was.
It's kind of similar to like when Denver hired him. If they get Rodgers, fine. It's like an A hire. If they don't, it's like kind of shitty.
Yeah.
So how do you feel about that one?
No, I completely agree with that. Yeah.
So if you guys get Derek Carr, if you get Derek Carr, what do you rate this hire?
Like a B?
Yeah, I give it like a B-.
And if you get Rodgers, it's what?
It's an A.
Yeah.
An A or A+.
Yeah. Okay.
That's I completely, for once, I actually completely agree with Ben.
Hey, thanks, man.
Okay.
You should agree with me more.
No.
Now
Bill O'Brien.
Cowboys.
Bill O'Brien's a great OC. I don't know what the beef is.
The Cowboys got rid of.
You'll see next year when we win 10 games.
Okay.
You'll see.
Okay.
The Cowboys got rid of Kellen Moore, and they've turned to Brian Schottenheimer, former Jet, Ram, and Seahawk OC. What do you think about that?
Eh.
Well, Schottenheimer. Well, the other thing is, I'm pretty sure McCarthy's taking over the play calling. So he's going to be the OC, but he's not. It's going to be McCarthy at play calling compared to.
Okay, I like that a lot more now. I like that a lot more. If he's just like
there,
like the messenger, then like fine.
There.
But if he's making his own plays,
there.
God no. God, no.
Rating?
C+.
C+. Interesting.
Now Kellen Moore
to the Chargers
is an A.
That's the next one.
That's a very good one.
Like that one?
I like that a
What do you
lot.
think?
I do. I also like that.
I think he's gonna have a very good relationship with Herbert in LA.
Well, something there had to get fixed. 'Cause that was fucking
I
brutal.
think it could be a really, really good hire. The thing I don't really like too much about it is where there were times where they let Dak sling it. There were also times where they were conservative, and then if you look in terms of Herbert, there were definitely times, most of the time, where they were babying him and they weren't letting him do his thing, go deep, whatever it is.
Well, they were also dealing with a lot of injuries on the offense this year.
Yeah, well, even in past years, like they've been very like ease him in, at this point he has the talent. Let him sling it. If he makes mistakes, he's just gonna learn.
Honestly, I don't know how much I agree with that. I mean, his second year in the league goes for like 5,000 yards and 40 touchdowns. Like, how much can you really be babying him at that point?
Well,
and then the first year he gets like 4,500
leading
and
receiver,
33
I think
touchdowns.
the past 2 years has been his running back. So I mean, Eckler's not going deep.
But at the same time,
it's a
like,
lot of
you have to be
dunks.
pushing it down the field if you end up with like 5,000 passing yards.
I think this hiring is going to show how much I think Dak stinks.
Well, so do you what do you because like the thing is with Kellen Moore, the reason why I kind of like it is because with Kellen Moore, Dak was getting all these interceptions because he was more willing to at least once in a while put out the electric play, whereas the Chargers, I feel, don't do that as much, and they kind of baby Herbert.
But when they do the electric play, it hits like 9 out of 10
Well,
times.
what I was saying, or Dak throws a pick, which is why he was leading the league. Now you put Herbert in that system, and he makes less mistakes. That's why I think it could be a really good hire. But then I do think it's interesting, though, because, I don't know. Like, obviously, it wasn't a great marriage in Dallas for Kellen Moore and them. But, like...
I mean, it worked out. 1 year worked out very well.
Yeah, not that it was terrible,
Very
but
well.
They didn't get to the point that they wished. But then the other thing I look at is like now you got Mike McCarthy calling your plays. Like they liked Mike McCarthy as a better option than Kellen Moore.
Well, I mean, let's also Mike McCarthy gets too much shit. He is a Super Bowl winning head coach.
I'm one of them. I mean, I'm one of them that gives him a shit. Like I think he's been a joke with the Cowboys, straight up. I think he's been a joke. I think the fact that he hasn't been
I think that's a little harsh.
Listen, the records are great, but when you look at this team by the numbers, like they're continuously the most penalized team. They're continuously the team that's more suspended. They're continuously the team that is screwing up in the most easy situations. Like I mean, like it feels like Mike McCarthy is just so like out of his prime, but like with that said, he has been putting up like solid regular season.
Also,
years.
I don't want to hear the argument against McCarthy where it's like, well, he only won his Super Bowl with Rodgers. Okay, what has Rodgers done since he left?
Yeah, it's not like
he's won like 2 playoff games without Mike McCarthy.
No, exactly.
So like, don't give me that. Like, McCarthy is a good coach. He just, I don't know. I will give you that. The Cowboys take way too many penalties and seem to be an undisciplined team at times.
Like imagine this
like
Cowboys
the end of the
team,
49ers playoff game.
How many times they just screwed up and gifted them the game?
Yeah.
And it's happened 2 or 3 years in a row. So
yeah.
That's my thing with that. So Kellen Moore, I do think it could work out. And if it does work out to the way we're saying, it could be a home run for the Chargers. Now, Eric Bieniemy, Chiefs OC, goes to the Commanders as an OC.
I don't get this one. I don't know why he did this.
I think this is...
I mean, I understand why he did it because he wasn't going to get a head coaching look when he was staying with the Chiefs, but why not just stay with the Chiefs and win more Super Bowls, and you will eventually get your head coach look. Like, it will happen.
Yeah.
It has to happen.
It's also interesting to, like, you'd think...
And also, why Washington?
Yeah,
of all
exactly.
teams, why Washington?
You'd think he'd have the pick of the litter at this point.
Like,
for OC positions, if he didn't even want to go to head coach, if he wanted to go to an OC position, you'd think he'd have the pick of the litter and take maybe the worst role in the league.
Like, I don't
But then
get
again,
that.
if they do, I mean, like, it's not like they don't have offensive weapons.
No, and
Like,
then
they have weapons. It's just the most dysfunctional organization ever.
There's been 2 very weird lateral moves this year. I believe Deuce Staley did it as well.
Yeah,
He
yes,
left.
Yeah.
He left Detroit.
You're right.
For what? Another running backs coach position. So I don't get that one either.
Panthers.
Yeah,
That's what I'm saying. The Panthers are making.
They have a very
success,
good.
yes.
They have a very good coaching staff.
Yes. Yeah. I've been.
But Deuce Staley did enough this year to get an improvement, not a lateral move. I'm sure he could have found an upwards move, but he chose to do a lateral. I don't understand that.
So now, where do you stand on the?
Also, I'm sorry, not to cut you off. Also, I'm really fired up about the Deuce Staley one because I feel like he does deserve better, and he is a very good coach.
Well,
if you're going to make the lateral move, stay with Detroit and keep doing what you're doing and help them get to the playoffs, and that improves your resume even more.
Now I know you've had to have seen this around in the media, discussed wherever it is. It's probably been discussed everywhere. Do you think that in both Deuce Staley and in the case of Eric Bieniemy, do you think it is a racial issue where they're not getting these looks because they aren't the stereotypical white man that has, I guess, ruled the head coaching position of the NFL for so long?
Yeah, I think that is a big part of it. I think that there has been an issue of that throughout the history of the NFL. There's a reason that the Rooney Rule has to exist.
Yeah.
And the sad part about it is that teams have never truly followed the Rooney Rule where...
Well, I know exactly. Now the issue with it is that the teams that are going with it are doing it in the wrong way.
Yes.
Like the Texans.
They're doing it just to do it.
Yes, because the Texans, they'll bring in Lovie Smith.
Right.
And they know they're not going to be a good team.
Right.
So they know he's not going to turn this team around to a 12-win team. So it's a bad look on like his record, and they're like, oh, he didn't work out. But like realistically, they didn't try to make it work out.
And also,
but then by hiring a black head coach or even doing the interviews, you get compensation draft picks as part of the Rooney Rule. So they're basically like abusing the system to bring in black head coaches when they know their team isn't competitive enough to have them succeed in.
Right.
Now, that's like, I'm sure that's what you were
100%.
Right?
And
So,
I mean, we've seen it there, like we've seen the same thing with Brian Flores. Brian Flores is a great coach, a phenomenal coach.
Yeah.
The fact that he doesn't have a head coaching job right now is a joke.
Yeah.
So
I believe he's
honestly,
DC with the Steelers.
He's with the Steelers. He's working with Tomlin right now.
Yeah.
He,
which I think they could do some real damage.
I think he's assistant head coach.
Yeah,
I think Tomlin made him assistant head coach.
I agree. I think you're right.
But
yeah, Deuce Staley.
The NFL needs to find a way to better enforce the Rooney Rule and make it that you can't just bring in a black head coach candidate to what's the word I'm looking for?
To abuse the draft pick policy.
That and just like fill the quota. Fill the quota of bringing in a black head coach
100%.
candidate, because what NFL teams are doing right now is fucked up. Like, let's call it what it is. It's fucked up.
100%.
And they're not giving black head coach candidates enough of a chance. And like you just said, a guy like Lovie Smith, what's he supposed to do? Not take the job? And then he takes the job, and of course it doesn't work out because the team sucks.
And they didn't try to make
And now it looks bad on his resume. A guy who was a phenomenal coach for the Chicago Bears for like a decade, brought them to NFC Championship games, brought them to a Super Bowl, and now his resume doesn't look as good because he had to take a job with the Houston Texans.
One of the things I do love, though, is the fact that the Texans, and probably behind Lovie Smith's charge, won that last game to take them out of the first pick situation to give to the Bears. So a little like FU on the way out.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I'm sure we'll discuss this more at length, but these are two guys in particular that we
Eric Bieniemy and Deuce Staley shouldn't have to take lateral moves for jobs. They should be getting looks.
And hopefully listen, Bieniemy, as much as it doesn't sound like a great spot to be in, you've got Terry McLaurin, you've got Antonio Gibson, you've got Brian Robinson Jr.
Yeah.
You've got the rookie receiver last year.
Jahan Dotson.
Yes, Jahan Dotson, who's just
you need a quarterback.
Yeah.
Taylor Heineke's not it.
Yeah, exactly. Like
he's okay.
He'll fill a gap for a little bit, but
he can play for a while. But
if they figure out, say they get a guy like Anthony Richardson or like Will Levis or I don't know.
Yeah,
if
Bieniemy can develop one of those guys, he'll definitely get a head coaching look.
Yeah, and that would be great for his resume. Next one, Matt Nagy goes to Chiefs OC in replacement to Bieniemy.
Well, it's a seamless switch because he was there beforehand.
Yeah, I think Nagy goes from this role in either 1 to 2 years to another head coaching job.
Probably.
I think so.
Probably.
I think they look at the Bears one as first time he didn't know what he was doing.
But also,
I think that's what they chalk.
Think about what you just said. Matt Nagy, he was there beforehand, turns it into a head coaching job. Bieniemy's there for 3 to 4 years, and then he has to make a lateral move to OC. But Nagy will probably leverage
get it right away.
into another head coaching job.
No, 100%. That's exactly what we were just.
It's a little ridiculous.
Just makes the point that we were saying.
Yeah. So, but with that being said, Nagy is a very good OC. He's good at his job, and I think it'll be a seamless fit.
Okay. Last one. Not sure if you're too familiar, but Brian Johnson, who's the Eagles quarterback coach, highly touted, got moved up to Eagles OC role. He's a guy that I think, minus a setback year for Hurts, I think he's going to be getting head coach looks next year or the year after too.
Yeah,
young guy, similar to the OC of the Lions, very prominent, very highly touted around the league, and keep an eye out on him for next year.
Yeah, and I think it's a good fit. Again, very similar to the Chiefs, where you just bring in the quarterback coach, you promote him. Sirianni doing a really good job at grooming these guys. Because I think that's one thing that people forget. The head coach isn't just developing players; he's developing coaches as well. So
sometimes the head coach is developing coaches more so than he's even developing the players, and the coaches just cycles out like that.
So again, I'm sure that Jalen has a very good relationship with him if he's getting promoted to OC, and given the career year that he had. So I agree with you. It's a really good fit there.
Perfect. And the last thing we're going to touch on in the NFL is Daniel Jones, reportedly 2 hours ago, CBS Sports. Daniel Jones, Giants quarterback, actually wants more than $45 million per year in contract extension.
That's a joke.
Now, what was I saying? Middle of the year. I was preaching Daniel Jones is going to want a lot of money. I don't think he's going to do what you think he's going to do if you give him $45 million. Now he wants what, 50?
I said not a good quarterback.
I said it before during the pod, middle of the year. I said the most I would pay Daniel Jones is $25 million a year in a contract extension. I would move that to 30. A couple weeks after, I moved it to 30. 30 is the most I'd give Daniel Jones.
The most I would give him is $28 million.
The fact that he wants more than 40, like 45 was outrageous. The fact that he wants more than 45
is a joke.
Cut ties. This guy is not. He's not bringing you to the promised land. He has to realize, and I don't know how he doesn't, but he has to realize, Daniel Jones does, that he's never going to do what he's doing now in a system ever again, because Brian Daboll is the perfect head coach for him. Built a guy who's physically the same as Josh Allen, physically built the same, can run similarly.
He's just
to
a bad Josh Allen.
Yeah, and he turned him into the best he's been of his career, and now you're going to leave or demand this much money. It's outrageous to me.
Yeah.
If I'm the Giants, I'm cutting ties. I know it sets you back a little bit. I'm cutting ties with Daniel Jones.
No,
if you give him this contract,
him demanding that amount of money would piss me off to the point where I wouldn't even negotiate with him afterwards.
And the worst part about it is, say he comes back down, you give him $45 million, he agrees for $45 million contract, then Saquon's gonna be like, all right, let's be real here. We all know I'm the real reason. I want exactly what I'm asking for. Maybe I go up. Now you're split what? You're paying 60, 70 million between two players now?
That's not it's not how you win games in the NFL. It's not how you build consistent winners in the NFL. So they definitely have to cut ties with with Daniel Jones. And the thing that sucks is I'm not a huge fan of this QB class coming in. So I don't really see where they go, at least for this season, if they cut ties with him. I don't see the fix.
Yeah, I mean,
Because Carr,
at this point, I hate the idea of this, but it just seems like it might work. Jimmy G for a year until they have an idea of what they're gonna do. Like,
yeah,
I mean,
I could see that.
they're too good of a. They did too good last year to completely
To just let
resolve
yourself
to nothing.
suck.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe that's a good fit. But again, the thing that's really annoying about what Rodgers is doing is you're not just delaying the Packers' decisions, you're delaying the Jets' decisions, which in turn delays the Panthers in New Orleans because they're interested in Carr. And then maybe another side effect of that is the Giants. They can't keep Jones.
It's
and then maybe they have to go for a Garoppolo. So
once
Rodgers is
decisions
kind
are
of...
made, yeah.
Rodgers is holding the whole league captive right now. He is. He's being an absolute piece of shit, and I hate that guy.
And I would expect a decision within the week, if I had to guess. So we'll keep you guys updated.
Well, I have to take my time out of the darkness.
I heard
to
he
decide
went
what
back
I wanna
into the
do.
darkness. He didn't have.
No, he didn't.
No, can you imagine?
No, he didn't.
He goes out, comes back
Oh
in.
my god, he's the worst.
Guy needs to make a decision. Now, to the NBA, Kevin Durant, first game on the Suns. I mean, you were baffled by it. What are your thoughts on that relationship there?
He's sick. He is so sick. Like what did he get? Like 23, 6, 2, and 3 or something stupid. And then he only put up
Right off the
15
injury.
shots.
Yeah.
He only played
10
like
for
25
15 or
minutes,
something.
something
Yeah.
stupid. He just drops 23.
Yeah, what do you do?
27 minutes,
27 minutes,
23 points,
23 points,
10 for 15 field goal,
10 for 15,
2
Field
for 4
goals.
three-pointer,
okay,
6 rebounds,
6
2
rebounds.
assists,
Yeah, I
2
mean,
blocks.
he
Oh my-
he had a
Stupid.
day. Probably didn't. He played 20 something minutes. Good for him. Do you think the Suns now? Because I know you had questions if they were gonna gel together. Do you think the Suns?
I'm still taking
Will
the Nuggets to come
go-
out of the
yeah?
West over the
Okay.
Suns. I think that the Nuggets are... I think the NBA has finally gone back to... It's about the teams. It's not necessarily about all the stars. I understand that the Warriors have stars, but they're a team. The Celtics have stars, but they're a team. The Bucks have a star,
That's how I like
but they're
the
a team.
NBA.
The Nuggets have a star, but they're a team.
You prefer that?
I prefer that 100%.
Definitely.
Even like the Cavs when they had LeBron, Kyrie, and K Love, like they were a team. They were a team, but it's a little different now.
Like the perfect example of not a team was KD, Kyrie, and James Harden.
Yeah, like
on
that
the
was a
Nets.
joke. That was a joke.
Definition of not a team. You know?
And then I'm still gonna. I know that the Suns looked really good, but I'm still gonna go with the Nuggets.
Okay, I love it.
'Cause I would still say that Jokic is the best player in that series,
I mean,
even ahead of KD.
I can't say enough about
even
him.
ahead of KD.
I can't say enough about him. He is just so good.
And everyone who's freaking out saying,
I
"Well,
pray
how
every
is
day that
how is
Jokic stays
KD
with us."
not better than Jokic?" Well, Jokic is about to win his 3rd straight MVP, and KD has 1. So,
yeah, I mean,
maybe he is better. Maybe
Well-
you have to wake up and realize that he is a better player.
we'll build into this convo over the next couple weeks, maybe months, as the NBA heats up. But I'm ready to make some crazy takes on Jokic and where I think he's gonna land all time.
yeah,
Um,
I think
we'll
he's
see
on
if we
pace
go.
to be like a top 15 player of all time.
I would even go closer.
Like
I'm so fired up about him.
3 straight MVPs is crazy.
I think he can crack the top 7, or
Oof.
crack 7. I mean,
He's not better than Tim Duncan.
that's what I'm saying. We're gonna get into this. We're gonna get into this in depth because we're running out of time here. The last thing I do want to touch, last thing for NBA, Kyrie to the Mavs. They haven't really been great.
They were great last night.
They were great last night. Besides that, it hasn't been.
Yeah, I believe they're 2
sailing?
4 right now.
Something like that, yeah.
And before
But they
last
both
night,
have been averaging. I don't know.
well, last night they
that's letting
combined
them
for
down?
82.
So
So-
they've been playing great. It's just whether or not the team is.
Yeah.
Is Porzingis still hurt or is he healthy?
Porzingis isn't on the team.
He's not on the Mavs anymore?
No, he's on the Wizards.
Oh, is he on the Wizards?
Yeah.
God.
They have Christian Wood though.
Christian
The
Wood.
Mavs have Christian Wood.
Good.
That must be who you're thinking. But no, I think the Mavs will figure it out. I think they're going to be good, but I see them as the third best team in the West, behind Denver, and Phoenix.
Yeah.
But I think the Mavs, they could make some noise in the playoffs, especially if Kyrie's hitting clutch buckets like he usually does.
And Doncic, I mean,
Well, Luka's the man. Luka's gross.
Mr. Clutch.
Yeah.
And then lastly, to the NHL. I know you want to touch on this. Patrick Kane to the Rangers.
Yeah.
Absolute, well, this is on top of, I'm forgetting his first name, Tarasenko.
Yes, Vladimir Tarasenko
yes.
got traded there, I believe it was last week.
So they went in and they did the haul. We'll touch on the Bruins in a second as well because they also made a couple moves. But Patrick Kane to the Rangers, now you want to talk about.
Yeah, just an insane deal. The greatest American hockey player of all time is now playing in MSG. Showtime on Broadway. Everyone's saying it. Everyone's loving it. It's pretty wild. It's pretty surreal that he's actually a Ranger. First game last night didn't go the way he wanted it to, but, I mean, listen, that's why you have 20 more games to figure it out and get the proper chemistry going. He's back with his old teammate, Artemi Panarin, who he played with when he won the MVP.
It's disgusting.
So, I mean, it's kind of set up for success. However, the Rangers will not win the Cup this year. They will not win this year. They'll find a way to keep Kane, and they'll have about a 4-year window for the next 4 years to win the Cup, and I think they'll win one in that span. But they are not doing it this year. It's not happening. I think adding Kane is obviously a huge improvement, but that's a lot of moving pieces that you're adding in, and it's a lot to deal with, especially in a sport like hockey. It's not as easy as people think.
They brought in a ton.
It's not as seamless as in basketball where you just add a star in and then all of a sudden you're going to go on a deep run. There's still a lot of variables at play that you have to deal with, especially in a game like hockey.
And I feel like because it's such a fast-moving sport, it's tougher to kind of get in sync with your teammates, which is something that
One thing
we'll
that helps is that he's back with Panarin.
Yeah.
But at the same time, they haven't played together in almost a decade. So Panarin's a different player than he was then. Kane's a different player than he was then. So we'll see if it works out.
Now, for the Bruins, I know you're a Bruins fan.
Yep.
Where do you stand on the moves that they made to improve? And
they're the best team in the league.
Re-signing Pasta, right?
Yeah, Pasta 8-year extension, which was huge. They're the best team in the league. They've been the best team in the league, wire to wire. They just broke the record for fastest team to 100 points. I believe it was 61 games, so that's just insane.
61.
And then yesterday, so 2 weeks ago, they get Dmitry Orlov, which obviously is a huge trade because it adds to their stacked D core with McAvoy and Lindholm and Forbert and Clifton and even Grzelcyk, who kind of sucks. And then they have Carlo, too.
Don't forget the goalie that scores goals now.
Yeah, Linus Olmark and Jeremy Swayman are the best goalie tandem in the league. You have the best offensive forward in the league with Patrice
I believe that was the
Bergeron.
first goal in Bruins goalie history.
Yeah, first Bruins goalie to ever
Pretty
score.
electric.
So, I mean, the Bees are on fire. Yesterday, they find out that Taylor Hall and Nick Foligno are going to be hurt, so they put them on the LTIR, long-term injury reserve. You can hide their cap until the playoffs come around where the cap increases. They trade for Tyler Bertuzzi. So now you have just a completely stacked forward group as well. If I know the Bruins the way I do, which I do, they will blow it. But it's been
they're making it as hard for you to say that
they're going to blow it. And they're making it as hard as it's going to be to watch them blow it come the playoffs. So I know they'll break my heart, but I'm going to enjoy it while it lasts.
Okay, let's play a game. Can they win? Can they legitimately win the Cup?
Okay.
Don't give me they're doing good, so yeah, they can win the Cup. I want to know from you, the expert, are they winning the Cup? Can they win the Cup?
Okay.
Start with the Rangers.
No.
No?
Okay.
That was a hot one to come out with.
If it's can they? Yes, they can win the Cup. They can. There's I would say there's about legitimately 7 teams that could win the Cup. Would I pick them?
Think Super Bowl or Super Bowl bubble when we did that.
Okay.
Think
all right. Then yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Bruins.
100%.
Okay. I wasn't expecting a no. The Canes.
Yes. 100%.
Avs.
Yes.
Maple Leafs.
Yes.
Lightning.
No.
Devils.
No.
Oh, my Jersey brothers aren't gonna like that one. The Stars.
Only because the West is so bad.
Now the Golden Knights.
No, Mark Stone's hurt. They're not gonna get through without him.
Kings.
No.
The Wild?
No. Oilers can't either. The Oilers will not win the cup, even with McDavid.
No Oilers.
No
Oilers
Oilers.
either. Kraken?
No. God, no.
And I think that's it. We narrowed down our list. So.
All right, so I got
Well,
the legit contenders to me. Most of them are in the West or the East because the East is so stacked. It's the Bees, the Rangers, the Hurricanes, the Leafs.
Avs.
The Avs are in there.
And then did you do Lightning or no?
No Lightning, but
And then you did
I'll give the
Stars.
Stars a chance.
So 6. Okay. So we're gonna do this another time as well, and we're gonna see if it's narrowed down. We're gonna do this probably in an episode or two.
Yeah, I might do a little deep dive video on the trade deadline.
Perfect.
Because it ends in an hour actually. So I'll do a little bit of a deep dive on that.
I'm pretty sure I did see the Penguins make a move. Did you see
Yeah,
that?
I saw them make a move. Pretty good. I just I don't think it's their year.
Yeah, if only their owners cared about their baseball team.
Yeah.
Yo, next time we see you guys, full baseball pod. We're talking everything. We're breaking down divisions. We're giving predictions. We're giving award predictions. Tune in. That one's going to be insane. And that's all for this one.
See ya.
See ya.